What's going on, everybody? I am Mookie from MookNation, and today we'll be taking a look at a very ambitious title called CRAFTOPIA. CRAFTOPIA is a new multiplayer survival action game developed by Pocket Pair Incorporated and published by both Pocket Pair Incorporated and Exploration Crafting. CRAFTOPIA released initially back in July of 2020 on the Steam store as an early access title, and as of September 2nd, 2021, it's also available on Xbox Game Pass for both the Xbox and PC. It is available on the Android platform as well, but this review will be focused on the PC version of the game. The game currently sits at $24.99 US on the Steam store, and with over 11,000 reviews, sits at a very positive rating. The game boasts that they have combined many features that they love about other games, such as hunting, farming, hack and slash, building, and even automation. Now, full disclaimer before we begin, my experience is solely in the single player. There will be a separate multiplayer review coming soon. Also, I want to take a minute to thank our patrons, Married in Minecraft, Kelsey Singler, and Hawk Paranormal for their support, and for anyone interested in joining our Patreon and helping support what we do here on this channel, as well as all of MookNation Media, there will be a link in the description below. Thank you all so much for your continued support. It is going to allow us here to continue to provide quality content for everyone. Now, let's get to it. It's nothing new for game developers to mash tons of our favorite genres together these days. It's actually becoming quite the norm as of late. But the truth is, most of those games that strive to do it all usually don't live up to the hype. So how does CRAFTOPIA do on delivering these features? Well, I'll let you decide. In this video, I'm going to give you my 5 biggest takeaways from playing CRAFTOPIA. So that way you can determine whether or not this early access, survival, farming, hack and slash, automation, RPG crafting game is worth tying up your insanely valuable hard drive space. Let's get to it. MookNation! Number 1, the graphics. So right away I noticed that while the game does look pretty good, it also looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, and even more so like Genshin Impact. And when I say a lot, I mean almost identical, but I don't want to make it sound like that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the game does look good. The art style makes for quite a few moments where you'll just stop and want to take in the view, thanks to its beautiful aesthetics. Now, while the world does look great graphically, the mobs look relatively generic. I'm not saying they look bad, it's just that, well, they look like something you would see in an early access game. They're nothing special. Graphically, your character looks good, all the weapons and gear look okay, so all in all, you won't have any complaints after hours and hours of staring at your character run through this visually pleasing world. Number 2, the mechanics. Okay, so CRAFTOPIA is an ambitious title to say the least. They want to take something from every genre and bring it all into one big game. Now this part is really tricky to analyze because the game does bring so many different mechanics, so I will try to grade the overall delivery more so than each set of mechanics. Also, you'll notice that I do not mention the hack and slash mechanics here, as I feel that there was a whole separate part of the game that needed to be discussed. So in my time in the game, there was farming, crafting, building, surviving, and automation. Some of these features work great and add hours and hours of fun, while some barely seem to function or simply are not finished. I would have to say my favorite mechanic so far is its crafting and building. The way these mechanics were implemented have kept me going for many hours trying to unlock new things to craft and advance eras. And without a shadow of a doubt, my least favorite mechanic so far is the automation. I cannot for the life of me seem to figure it out. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I simply could not figure it out or get it to work properly. Which brings us to the biggest problem, is that some of the game's mechanics really don't have any instructions or tutorials, so trying to figure them out can be quite a chore. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier, some of the aspects of the game are so good that you really don't mind some of the aimless wandering as you try to learn how to use certain functions and mechanics. Sometimes trying to figure out one mechanic leads you to discovering something you didn't even know that was in the game, and that can feel quite rewarding. Number 3, the combat. So CRAFTOPIA right off the get-go lets you know that they want to have combat at the heart of this game. They take a straightforward approach on the controls for combat, but where they seem to really excel is in the skills and abilities they bring to their game. The combat alone is nothing special, but the fact that they offer so many skills that allow you to make your character so incredibly unique in its combat style is truly amazing. I went first for a dual-wielding character, and I loved the way it played. I later added some skills with the bow and found that to be incredibly fun as well. As I record this, I'm beginning to play with the magic for my character. The point is, there's so many ways to play combat, I keep coming back to try new ways. You will no doubt want to try them all and see what fits your style. Now with that being said, the enemy AI does seem to be slightly lackluster, as they have only a few different moves and or strategies they employ against you. But with that said, luckily the game gives you ample strategies to take up against them, and I think it's more about how you attack more so than how they attack. Though the game does boast more intense combat at higher difficulties, I haven't quite tried that out yet, so you'll have to be a judge of that for yourself. Number 4, the world. Now this one for me may be the most complicated part of the game to judge. The world is basically in big islands that you can go to, and it requires a teleportation stone to get to each one. It's not one big fluid world, which I personally don't care for. Instead of one big seamless world with lots of biomes, each island seems to be its own biome with unique traits and secrets. Each island also has specific materials that can be harvested, assuming that you have the proper tools and equipment, as well as its own enemy difficulty. So while I feel like in the beginning of the game, the world style can make you not want to go adventuring, eventually, thanks to the relatively well thought out progression system that the crafting mechanic brings, as you start to reach higher levels, you'll start to find yourself quite curious as to see what's on these islands. Because you guessed it, new crafting items means new materials needed, which means you're going to need to get your butt out there and find out what's on these islands. Number 5. Early Access Bugs. Now, normally I just put a disclaimer in my review stating that the game is being reviewed in early access and that the review should be taken as exactly that, a review of an early access game. However, this game in particular seems to have some very game-breaking early access bugs and in a way makes some parts of it unplayable. So to me, it's worth saying that because the basics of the game itself sometimes don't work, meaning you cannot progress in the story or with your missions, that therefore to me the status of early access itself is something of a concern. Don't get me wrong, there are lots of fun things to do in this game, many hours to spend figuring out tricks and secrets, but you must be ready at any time for major parts of the games to not function. And the long-term playability of the game in the future may be heavily dependent on the commitment of the developers. As I write this, I see that Pocket Pair Incorporated has a new game coming in 2022 called Pal World. This does add some skepticism on whether or not they are dedicated to the future of this game. So with all that being said, what is my overall opinion of Craftopia? Well, I'll be completely honest. I still think there's a lot of potential for this game. Now, with all the bugs and crashes I've had, I don't recommend spending the $25 on it. However, if you get it on sale, or if you have the Xbox Game Pass, then I think this title is worth the impressively small 10.1 gigabyte it cost you in hard drive space. There is no doubt a lot of fun things that can be done with all of these ideas they've brought together. I am currently working on reviewing the multiplayer aspect of the game and plan to bring a separate review for that. For now, I'm going to say that if you have Xbox Game Pass or you can get this game on sale, then I do recommend this unique title. I give Craftopia single player experience in its early access state a 3 out of 5. I believe that if the developers continue to put work in on all the mechanics and work to fix some of the major issues with the gameplay, someday this title will have a large fan base that spends hundreds of hours in its world. But as I said, the developers are already working on another title for 2022, and that is somewhat concerning to me when I see this game as unfinished in some areas as it is. We can only hope that they will stay committed to this fun title. I have reached out to the developers and asked them about their future plans for this title. I hope that they will respond and allow me to give an update in the multiplayer review. That's all I have for you today. I hope this helps you make your decision on Craftopia. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that thumbs up and tell me if it helped you in the comment section below. I would also be happy to answer any questions you have. I always do my best to respond to everyone. Also, again, thank you to the MookNation patrons, and if you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting what we do here, there will be a link to the Patreon page in the description below, or you can go find out more information on our website at www.mooknationmedia.com. So until next time, stay safe, my friends. Peace.